Shalom, 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 Yisrael, Ya'el, Yehonathan, we with you here, humbly so, on what they call the 10th of July, 2022. That was the Bible Project entitled The Law. It's a nice, I like that ministry. It's a Christian ministry. If you want to support them, it's called the Bible Project. I just wanted to make a Christian point on these laws, because today's topic is continuation, all the way back from 2 months, about the beast, the desolation that lays waste, pure beauty, the desolation that lays waste, pure beauty. Because you're going to hear some stuff that I hope doesn't offend you. If it's truth, and I got the scriptures here, then let's do this, because the time is short. I want you to hear from a strong Christian background ministry about these laws. Now, it took me over a year to go through the entire 54 Torah portions with you. And in those Torah portions, we went through how we got all these 613 laws. And the way it goes, if you don't read the Old Testament, particularly the first 5 books, you don't even really know this. And that is, originally Yahweh came down from the mountain to marry us. And we even got these laws only because we didn't want to hear Yahweh's voice. We said, no, Moses, you talk to us. You just tell us what he said. So the marriage was put on a step, if you will. And we are betrothed to him right now. We still have not been married to Yahweh. We are betrothed to him. He had to legally put us away, because in a Hebrew marriage, even being betrothed is legal. So we had to get legally set aside, just like Yusuf was going to do to Miriam. But then he has taken us back. Now, so what we got was a top 10. We already broke that, like you just heard them say on the Bible Project, and then we got another list, and they kept on going until we got to 613. And now I'm in the process of having even early in it, that it really ended up being 666 once we got into the land. The more laws we get, the more laws we got, the more sinning we did. Each time with each set, it's a pattern right there in the books of Moshe. It's right there. So the point is that it's not about the law, it's about the heart. And at the heart, we do not have the ability to keep what was written in stone. Now, we talked about last week about what will help us here in the flesh is to accurately label this term law, which is about a relationship with Yahweh. It is best to label it love. Yahweh did not give us laws out of anger or hatred or to make us fail. It was because he loved us. And everywhere in the Old Testament where you see law, you put in or judgments or statutes, if you put love in there, it'll help you understand it better. Concurrently, we also know that Yahweh Shua is love. So if the law means love, and we know Yahweh Shua is love, then the law is Yahweh Shua. In the New Testament, the Brit Hadashah, wherever you see Yahshua's name, if you put in law, it would help you understand that Yahweh Shua is the law. In the Old Testament, in the Torah, if you reverse the label instead of law, put in love, it'll help you see that the law is love. And the New Testament helps you see that the law is Yahshua, and the Old Testament helps you see that the law is love. And we know that Yahweh Shua is love. I'm saying this because when you say a word, a mental schema automatically comes to a person's head. If I say the word house, automatically different types of houses come into your head. You don't start thinking about giraffes or balloons. If I say elephant, you don't start thinking about trees and automobiles. You think about there's a range of thoughts we have in our mind when a word is given. And when the word law is given, what I'm hoping to do here is to have you automatically think in your head and an act of love. Very unplanned and unscripted. On my way in here, and this is, no, please do not take this the wrong way as any kind of me pat myself on the back. There was a man who claims to live in the woods walking down asking for money. I had never seen anybody ask for money around this studio. So I did a U-turn, came around and said, what's up, what's going on? And he gave us a little story. And I told him, listen, I hope that you tune in. I gave him this station. I told him to tune in to My Tune Radio, WFPR 1590. And I hope he's doing it right now. And I gave him a nice little something, and told him that we are the people of the book. Now, that is an act of love, but ideally, I'm supposed to have a heart that would die for that man. That would die for that man. And this is what Yahweh said, that what love really is, the greatest thing you can do for another person is to lay your life down for that person. And Yahweh even said, not just to love your family and friends and those who give you likes on YouTube. He said even your enemies. And that's what Yahweh did. He embodied the law. And he laid down his life. It was not taken from him. So we have a lot of work to do, and has nothing about trying to keep what I think is over 600, about probably 666 commandments. So let's talk about that, because these days we are in the gas fumes of this age. And we talked about last week about how can Hasatan, who, remember, the accuser fooled 1/3 of the heavenly host. Please keep that in mind. 1/3 of the heavenly host was beguiled by Hasatan, by Heliel, which was his name at that time. So if he can beguile 1/3 of those who are before the presence of Yahweh, who knew no sin, who up there with all their power, might, and wisdom, what do you think he can do to man down here, who has a long history of sinning? We don't need no help or take no classes on how to sin. No one has to be trained on how to sin. We do it very well naturally on our own. Thank you very much. And you think you are safe from being tricked here in these last days when it says the whole world will be beguiled? How is he going to do it? Are you going to try? I talked last week about how you don't bait a tiger with apples. You're not going to try to catch an elephant by serving him dead meat. But you can bait a tiger with a fresh raw steak. You can bait a bird with worms. Well, how are you going to bait a Hebrew? With the law. How are you going to bait your Jewish brothers? With the law. How are you going to bait the TORAH movement people? With the law. How are you going to bait the Messianic movement? With the law. How are you going to bait the Jews with Jesus? Remember what we learned here on Yahweh for Christians. Yahweh says the knowledge will increase in these last days. It actually is in Daniel 12. The knowledge will increase. And that meaning had nothing to do with technology. It had everything to do with the knowledge of Yahweh increasing in these last days, which it truly exploded with computers, and then the internet, and then even more so with your smartphones. So it's through that the knowledge is increasing, and it is through the knowledge of Yahweh. So it's through that now everybody is waking up. And like I said, this ministry is called Yahweh for Christians. It now really can be renamed Yahweh for Hebrews, because no one is going to be fooled on a worldwide basis over Allah or Jesus or Jehovah, because everyone knows that that the Bible, that the Middle East, all eyes is on the Middle East. Everybody knows it's a Hebrew information for the whole world. The whole world knows that. It's all about Hebrew origin. Everyone knows that. So the bait for the world is going to be the Torah. That's going to be the bait that's going to bring in everybody out there now who's waking up and wearing seats. Everybody who's waking up now and don't even really know the law. Out there wearing tzitzis, but you're mixing your clothing. You have mixed clothing, which is against the Torah. Committing Lashon Hara, which I see every day on social media. I can go on. I started to even write down some of these commandments to show you how many commandments that we are breaking daily. And you can't even keep none of the Moedim over here in America, KKK. You're not in the Kodesh land, and we don't even know if Israel is the Holy Land. So you can't even properly keep the feast days. But that sets everyone up for now biting on the bait of the law. You know, this whole thing about worship, because Satan says that he is going to be like the Most High. Satan does not care about money, fame, wealth, or none of that. He wants to be worshipped like Yahweh. He wants worship. He wants homage. He wants praise. He wants everything to bow down to him. That is what his goal is. So the whole thing about deception in the last days is about deception of righteous worship and unrighteous worship. It goes all the way back from the beginning. Satan offered the Malachim that he fooled everything now. You can be like this voice you're hearing, because no one sees Yahweh. Heliel was the covering cherub. They heard the creating voice of Yahweh and they obeyed his instructions and directions. Satan offering them the power and the abilities of Yahweh. And looking at his beauty, 1/3 followed him. Satan offered Eve everything now. You can be like Yahweh. Satan told Cain, you can worship your way. You can do it your way and justify yourself. Satan told Saul, King Saul, hey, you don't have to wait for Shemuel. You can worship your way and justify yourself. This whole thing has always been about right worship and wrong worship. And that's what's going to happen in the last days with deception. It's all about worship, praise, and homage. And it's all going to be about the Torah. The face of the covering over the whole earth. Let's begin with Philippians 2:5. And I want to put it out there. I don't know if I'm going to get any responses, but I do. It will be very helpful for me, by the way, if I had someone who can read these scriptures for me. What I do. It is very difficult doing what I'm doing here, and I'm oftentimes, more often than I would like, making errors and mistakes and reading. It's a whole lot to do here. This is not an easy task, believe it or not, especially when you have all these scriptures I gotta go through. But pray for me, and hey, I'm willing to take anyone who's able to come here every Sunday, 1 to 2 or whenever, and read as I direct here. Philippians, male or female, doesn't matter. We all can read this word. Philippians 2:5-11, and it reads, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Hamashiach Yahweh, who, being in the form of Yahweh, did not consider it robbery to be equal with Yahweh, but made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a bondservant and becoming in the likeness of men. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even to the point of the tree. Therefore Yahweh has highly exalted him and given him the name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahweh every knee should bow, and of those in heaven, and of those on the earth, and of those under the earth, that every tongue should confess that Yahweh HaMashiach is the sovereign, to the glory of Yahweh the Father." You see that Yahweh only offered the Malachim in heaven didn't have no option. You follow Yahweh or there's no way. It's Yahweh. Adam and Mother Hawa only had one option, Yahweh. Cain and Abel was only one way of worshiping, one way of sacrificing. Same thing with King Saul, same thing with you and me. The tree of TORAH or the tree of life. One thing, but if you choose Yahweh, you have all of everything. Hasatan is just the opposite. He offers you all of everything now. And says through that, you can become like Yahweh. Just the opposite of Yahweh. You get everything by choosing the one thing, which is a relationship with Yahweh. His son Yahweh Shua did that and was exalted above everything. He was exalted because of the one foundational commandment that you probably don't even know what it is. It is not about blasphemy. The foundational commandment is coveting. Everything else that's built on top of that falls like a house of cards if you covet. Because if the Malachim did not covet what Hasatan was offering, they would still be up in Hashemayim right now. If Mother Hawah did not covet what Hasatan was offering, we would be proliferating in Shangri-La in the Garden of Eden right now. If you do not covet, you will be perfected in Yahweh. You will have all of everything. You receive what Yahweh gave you, and you are to be fruitful and multiply in what He gave you specifically for you. And this is this is what Hasatan dangles out as the bait to bring people to deception. He's going to put out the Torah bait, having you covet the perfection through your own self-righteousness of Cain. Your own self-righteousness of King Saul. Your own righteousness by the way you think you can do it. And you cannot do it. Now, the key to this, and my ears have not heard anyone else say this, but I gave you at least 8 to 10 scriptures on this. The key to this is you have blood pumping in your body. The blood is coveting. You were not created with blood. As a matter of fact, after the resurrection, Yahweh Shua, when he told doubting Thomas and the rest of them, hey, look, touch and handle me. Does a spirit have flesh and bones as I have? He didn't say anything about blood. When he resurrected without blood. When he lived as a man, as we read here in Philippians chapter 2, he had blood because he had to be tempted just like we are, but without sin. The blood is coveting. We receive that in the Garden of Eden in the forbidden fruit. That's how you got it. Hasatan offers you everything right now to be like Yah. Yahweh offers you one thing. And in that one thing, you have everything. Just like Yah. It's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. Yahweh help me. Yahweh help me to get this through. I hope you're getting what I'm laying down right here. Yisrael. Now, another thing we talked about in this last, I guess, almost 2 months, when we're reading Daniel Revelations, you hear all these talks about beast this and beast that and horns. The whole reality of the situation of deception has nothing to do with the ugliness of beast. This term beast that Daniel and Yachanan are talking about is a condition of the Ruach, the spirit. On the surface, all these politicians and all these leaders, by the way, all Hebrew, because this whole deception is about Yahweh's people. It has nothing to do with the world. All this discussion in Daniel and Revelations is all Yisrael. All of it. And the beastliness, the ugliness, the horns are beautiful men and women. Beautiful leaders, smart and smiling, teeth gleaming, looking bright and sharp and fit, and giving you a good law. All sans love. Yahweh Shua is love. Because the beast cannot profess Yahweh Shua. He can't do it. All he can do is give you the physical manifestations of the law. He cannot give you the love of it. He cannot give you the genesis of it, the purpose of the law. Was the love that Yahweh extended to us. And because we can't do it. He had already planned with a mighty hand and outstretched arm to reconcile us through his son. I really could use someone to help here. Now, Daniel 12:4, and it reads, "But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many will run to and fro, and knowledge will increase." So this, I just wanted to tell you again, this is about the knowledge increasing. It's not about technology, because you know that when they were behind a donkey tilling the ground, they didn't think that forever they'll be using a donkey to plant seeds. They did not think that in order to travel, they're going to have to keep carrying a whole bunch of things on animals. We know there's always been a time where technology will increase. It's been about the knowledge of Yahweh. Luke 11:52. Luke 11:52. And it reads, this is Yahweh Shua talking. "Woe to you, lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. You did not enter in yourselves, and those who were entering in you hindered." Who did this? Lawyers and their legalese and their leavening of the law, which already was weighty. And they did this without the love of Yahweh Shua. This is Yahweh Shua saying, woe to them, because they did not know the weighty matters of the law. We know what the weighty matters of the law is. Law says don't murder. But Yahweh Shua says don't even use your tongue to slander, and that is murder. That's the weightier matters of the law. Using your tongue for righteousness instead of murder. He says do not commit adultery. That's what the law says. Yahweh Shua says no, more weightier than that. Do not even harness in your mind and your heart lusting on another woman. That is adultery. See? So Yahweh Shua is going through the physical ramifications of the law. He goes right to the heart of the matter. The heart that pumps blood. Isaiah 6:9. Isaiah 6:9. But see, the lawyers, the Sadducees and Pharisees, they don't go there. They just want to see you physically follow the law of how to wash hands and how to keep the Sabbath. I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood, and I'm riding my little purple bike that I got from my aunt. I was called off many times on Friday nights going to these Jewish homes and turn off their stove and turn off their lights and do this back and forth, because they trusted me. I'm a little boy, 10, 12 years old, riding my bike, and I'm going into these houses, turning off stoves and turning off ovens and lights and things. Luke 11:50. What did I say? Isaiah 6:9. Isaiah 6:9, and it reads, "And he said, go and tell this people, keep on hearing, but do not understand. Keep on seeing, but do not perceive." Now, this is what Isaiah was told, and other prophets have been told this same thing. What does it mean? I know you have been confused about this over the years. All of the law and the prophets espouse the law. Throughout the entire Torah, it preaches the law. And all the prophets came about because Israel violated the law. Remember in the opening segment from the Bible Project that you heard about how after each rebellion of Israel in the wilderness, we got a whole other slate of laws. We rebelled again. Then we got a whole other slate of laws. And it continued on until we got up to 613. And I suggest right now, not ready to say this officially yet, that end up getting to 666 commandments once we got into the promised land. And so what we have now is we continue to break laws. The more laws we got, the more we broke. That Yahweh gave us prophets rising up early to speak to us about our adultery, about our idolatry, about our fornication, about all of us breaking what? The laws of Moses. And we've been hearing this for centuries. That's what the prophets were about. It wasn't praising us, it was telling us, it was pointing out our errors and our sins. What is sin? It's a transgression of the law. And it was pointing it out. And we have gotten dull of hearing it. Our ears have gotten numb. And that's what it is saying. All the prophets were preaching to like the wall. speaking to the wall that was numb to hearing how they keep breaking the law. One bad king after another. One bad king after another. Dull. And now we have been inoculated that, hey, whoa. Now we over here in America speaking English, we got to keep this law. So we gone from one extreme to the other. Where I see on social media where men talking about leaving their wives because they just woke up yesterday. They want their wife to go ahead and follow 613 commandments that they never followed in their entire marriage. And then they're going to go ahead and leave their wife. Sinful and unbiblical. Un-Torah. Un-Torah. Waking up and knowing nothing. You're still in a stupor. You're still bouncing, bumbling, and stumbling your toe. And now we're going to try to go ahead and try to get into the kingdom with the law in Babylon. Ain't no such thing of keeping the law in Babylon. Revelations 12:7. Not as you know it in your mind. Remember, the proper labeling of the law is love. And that can be kept anywhere. And there's no law against love. None. Not even in this evil country. There's no law against love. Revelations 12:7. I know I'm not going to get through this, but it doesn't matter. We're going to keep on going on because this doctrine is key from deception in these last days. Things are going to hit the fan. It's going to hit the fan. Right now, your farmers, what are they planting? What you're eating now came from last year. It's going to hit the fan, and the president already told you that the next and worst pandemic is on its way. It's on its way. Revelations 12:7. Y'all better be ready. Shaul talked about having the God be in your belly. He says, he who has an ear. It was 2:7. Here we go. Revelation 2:7. This is Yahweh Shua himself talking. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the called out ones. To him who overcomes, I will give him to eat from the tree of life, which is in the middle of the paradise of Yahweh. See what I'm saying? Yahweh Shua didn't give no other options. He said, have an ear, that means Shema. Shema. Hear. Hearing increases your faith. Eyes are ripe for deception. Yahweh Shua says, he who has an ear, with it, Isaiah, what was Isaiah told? Keep on preaching and they're going to have dull ears and not hear. Keep on doing it. They're going to have dull ears and not hear. What did Yahweh Shua say here in Revelations? He said, have an ear to hear. Please hear what I'm saying. I am not saying go out there and rape, pillage, and rob, and murder, and fornicate. I'm saying you have a wrong teaching, wrong education, and wrong ideology and understanding about what law means. From the mind, from the heart of Yahweh, who gave us his son, his expressed image. The whole thing about the last days deception is the image of the beast. Remember, beast has nothing to do about ugliness. He's going to be every bit as beautiful as anything you've ever seen. And wait till we see what that beauty is. You know, here's the thing I said last week about this 613, which I tell you is even more than that. If it was, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. 600, 700, it doesn't matter what the number is. You do all that, what you're saying is you don't owe all Yahweh nothing else. You've completed your debt to Yahweh. You have completed your obligation. And this is what Hasatan is presenting to you to receive. Do all he's giving. He wants you to have everything now. And then that says you can be like Yahweh. Well, Yahweh says, no, you receive me only. And you have everything, all things. You've completed all things. It's just the opposite. Do not put a number on the behaviors you're supposed to have or the behaviors you're not supposed to have. There's no number to it. Because once you reach that number, you're saying you owe Yahweh nothing else. And Shaul says, owe no man anything but love. So we always owe that. We are always in debt of love. We must always give that. You were created to love in your praise of Yahweh. You know, we talked about how the fake anti-Messiah, one of the key scriptures I use is Micah 5:5. Remember, in this deception, which is only designed against the Hebrew, Hasatan has to have everything that Yahweh has. He has to copy everything. Yahweh should, in the personage of Dawid as the Messiah, will have to destroy the anti-Messiah before he sets up a government. It cannot be two heads on the earth at the same time. Two heads is a monster, and Yahweh Shua is not going to have a monstrous government. So Hamashiach ben Dawid is going to have to destroy the anti-Messiah. That means before he does that, the anti-Messiah is going to have to look like the Messiah, and he's going to have to destroy an anti-Messiah. So you have a fake anti-Messiah that's going to be killed. By who? By the anti-Messiah. Now remember, Yahweh Shua resurrected. So that beast that was destroyed, remember? He has a deadly wound to his head, but then he resurrects. You see that? So now you're going to have the fake anti-Messiah and the anti-Messiah both together, just like you had at the same time Yahweh Shua and his father at the same time. You see the deception there? Does that sound twisted and complicated? It's not really. Not if you are a man or woman of Yah who studies and reads and fasting and prayer as I do. You have a fake anti-Messiah who's going to be killed by the anti-Messiah. Then the fake anti-Messiah is going to have to resurrect like Yahweh Shua resurrected. And they both are together giving homage to the dragon, Hasatan. Is that simple? It's more simple than you realize if you love truth and hate lies. Matthew 24:15. Help me, Yahweh. Matthew 24:15. I'm hoping this is going through for how many of you out there listening. Give a brother a shout out or support that you are there. Matthew 24:15, Yahweh Shua speaking. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel, the prophet, standing in the Kodesh place, and look what it says right here. Whoever reads, let him understand. Matthew 24:15. Yahweh Shua is saying is when you read this, I'm speaking it now. But here today, what they call the 10th of July 2022, when you read this, you need to understand it. The abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel in the Kodesh place. I'm here to tell you, if you don't know, you will know today. Let's go to Daniel that Yahweh Shua referenced. Daniel 11:29. Daniel 11:29. And it reads, in the appointed time he will return and go toward the south, but it will not be like the former or the latter. Reading on. For ships from Cyprus will come against him, therefore he will be grieved and return in rage against the Kodesh covenant and do damage. I'm thinking this is the fake anti-Messiah. Okay? So he will return and show regard for those who forsake the Kodesh covenant. And forces will be mustered by him, and they will defile the sanctuary fortress. Then they will take away the daily sacrifices and place there an abomination of desolation. Just this morning in rereading this, I say, yes, this is the fake anti-Messiah, because in verse 31, it goes from he, before that, speaking about he, a single man. Then in 31, it says they will take away the daily sacrifices and place there the abomination of desolation. Not the original subject. The original subject was the fake anti-Messiah is going to set up and institutionalize the Torah system. The anti-Messiah is going to destroy him, kill him, and institute this Torah to everyone. I believe the fake anti-Messiah is going to only start this for our Jewish brothers. And I believe the real anti-Messiah is going to open it up to everyone. And that's where we're going to say, hey, That's the real Messiah. Look, he killed the anti-Messiah, which won't be the anti-Messiah, it'll be the fake anti-Messiah. Then that fake anti-Messiah is going to resurrect like Yahweh did. Now, let's stick in Daniel. Let's go down to verse 38 and 39. You might have to come back and listen to this one again. 38 and 39. But in their place he will honor a God of fortresses, and a God which his fathers did not know. He will honor his with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus he will act against the strongest fortress with a foreign god, which he will acknowledge and advance its glory, and he will cause them to rule over many and divide the land for gain. Why to read that? Now this is the anti-Messiah who killed the false anti-Messiah. He is serving gods that his forefathers never knew. Didn't Moshe say that we were going to serve gods our forefathers didn't know? Didn't I say that this is all about Hebrews? This is not other religions. Remember, in Revelations, they're going to say, Master, Master, did we not do this and that in your name? This is all Hebrew brothers and sisters. This is not other religions. Yahweh for Christians now can be called Yahweh for Hebrews. This right here, this scripture is telling you that he's going to be serving gods that their forefathers did not know. His forefathers only know Yahweh. In his God is going to be gold, silver, woods, and stone. Let's stick to Daniel. Let's go to the next chapter, verses 11 and 12. Chapter 12, verses 11 and 12. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away, and the abomination of desolation is set up, there will be 1,290 days. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. Why did I read that? Because at the 1,260 days is when you had the false Messiah. So he has a 1 month reign, and then at the 1,290 days you had the false Messiah. But Yahweh says to Daniel, blessed is he who waits till 1,335 days. That's when the real Mashiach ben Dawid, is going to enter the scene. That's why you had the 3 different dates, 1260, 1290, and 1335. The false Messiah, the false Messiah, and the real Messiah. Bless Yahweh for this revelation. Bless Yahweh. Now, I have too many scriptures to read, so I'm just going to go ahead and mention these. Talking about, because now I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this abomination of desolation that Yahweh talks about in Matthew 24:15. And he said that when you read this 2,000 plus years later, understand it. That is his command from his mouth. Yehonatan Dawid, I suggest, understands it. That's my humble suggestion. The abomination of desolation is the 10 Commandments. The stone 10 Commandments. Not the Ruach, not the love, not that. Because there is no law against love in no country. There is no law against love. But the abomination of desolation is the 10 Commandments. Now, do I have any scripture to back that up? Well, yes. Because if I don't, it doesn't matter. Because opinions don't matter. 1 Samuel 5, 6 through 12. See what desolated Ashdod, Gath, and Ekron. Go ahead and look it up and see what killed them. Go to 1 Samuel 4, 3 to 10 and see what they used for a weapon against the Philistines. Yahweh says, and it failed though, because of the effectiveness of the Ark of the Covenant. Our forefathers believed that it was an actual weapon that they could use to kill others no matter where their heart was. So they took the Ark of the Covenant and put it out before them to overcome the Philistines. And it didn't work. It didn't work. Because they know that Yahweh says, I live between the cherubim. So they figured they put Yahweh out there and let Yahweh work for them. It doesn't go that way. Yahweh does not work for us. Yahweh does not need us. He wants us. He doesn't need us. So they improperly used the Ark of the Covenant. It didn't work. But third witness, go to 1 Samuel 6 and 19 and see how many thousands were struck dead by looking into the Ark of the Covenant. 50,700 men of war struck down, desolated by looking at the inside of the Ark of the Covenant. 1 Samuel 6 and 19. Now you remember what happened to Uzziah in 2 Samuel 6 and 7 by just touching, not the ark itself, just touching the cart, and he was struck dead. It scared David so much so that he left it for 3 months with Obed-Edom in 2 Samuel 6:11. And Obed-Edom was blessed during that entire time because his heart was right. So I just showed you some scriptures here where the Ark of the Covenant did not give life, it destroyed life. At one time, 50,700 men of war at one time. It desolated them. Why? Because it is pure beauty. It's holy. It's Kodesh. Didn't you read Psalm 119? 175 verses of how beautiful the law is. Psalm 19. The law is beautiful, upright, and just. Is nothing wrong with the law. What is wrong is with the receivers of the law's heart. You cannot use your eyeballs and look at the face of Yahweh. That is the law. If you look at Yahweh, you will disintegrate. You will disintegrate. That's why no one has seen the face of Yahweh, including Moshe. Panil wa panail does not mean looking at them eyeball to eyeball. That means he didn't have no intermediary between him and Yahweh. He spoke to Yahweh like a friend, and Yahweh spoke to him like a friend. But he was not sitting down looking at him like two men looking at each other at the table over drinks. That's why Yahweh says, hey, I'm going to cover your face and let you see my back parts. When you look directly at that law, with your sinful history, your sinful nature, you will be disintegrated. Because it is pure beauty. This is why Yahweh gave us what? The mercy seat. Yahweh had Moshe put a lid over the Ark of the Covenant, and he says, I sit there between the cherubim. Yahweh Shua sits on the mercy seat. It's called mercy. Why is it called mercy? Because if you look in it, you will be judged. And no one can stand the judgment of Yahweh. So you have to receive Yahweh Shua, who sits on the mercy seat. Oh, are you hearing what I'm putting down? You have one choice for eternal life. Just like in the Garden of Eden. Accept Yahweh Shua for eternal life. If not, then fine. He can get up, lift up that lid, and you take the judgment of the law. If you don't want to accept Yahweh's bared arm, that's Yahweh Shua when he says mighty hand and he bears his arm. You don't want to accept his son, then you just go straight to the law. Yahweh Shua is your filter. His works were perfected in that law. So you put him on, he is your righteousness. So when you come before Yahweh, he don't see you. He don't see me. He sees his own son, in whom he is well pleased. Shema him. He sees his son, not us, because we are sinful. You cannot look at that law. It is the abomination of desolation. And it's in the scriptures. But you have not been taught that. Because you see it as all beauty, beauty, and it is beauty, beauty. So you cannot approach it. What you need to do is accept Yahweh Shua. That is your ticket. Remember he told Abraham, your ticket is in the thicket. So he didn't have to slay his son. His ticket was in the thicket. And there was the ram caught in there and he slayed that. Please accept the ram, the lamb of Yahweh. Please. The law of love, the law of liberty. Jeremiah 3:14-18. Jeremiah 3:14-18. Jeremiah 3:14. Return, O backsliding children, says Yahweh, because I am married to you. I will take you one from a city and two from a family, and I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you shepherds according to my heart, who will feed you with knowledge and understanding. Then it will come to pass, when you are multiplied and increase in the land in those days, the last days, says Yahweh, that they will say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh. It will not come to mind, nor will they remember it, nor will they visit it, nor will it be made any more. Did you get that? Here's Yehonathan Dawid. I suggest to you. He says Yahweh's going to send you teachers after his own heart. My name Yehonathan means gift of Yahweh. That's what my name means. And Dawid, which is my middle name, means beloved by Yah. I'm a gift of Yahweh who's beloved by Yahweh. That's the name my grandmother gave me. And I was given that name for a reason. And it says right here, Yahweh's going to send teachers after his own heart. Dawid was a man after Yahweh's own heart. And it says right here, not my words, that in these last days, when we get into that kingdom, the final land, during this 1,000-year period, that no one is going to be talking about the Ark of the Covenant. It's not even going to come to our minds. Because why? Because Ezekiel 36 says he's going to put it in our hearts. This is why Jeremiah says it's not going to be on your mind. You're not even going to talk about it. It's right here. Because it's going to be in your heart. Just like when you drove your car today, you did not break out your driver's manual. You was reading that before you drove. It's in your heart how to drive. You might break the law, but you know how to drive. And you're going to know how to keep this law of love and liberty. Why? Because you got men, and you're going to have women too, like me, teaching you the proper application of this law. It's the law of love. It's the law of liberty. Please read Jeremiah 3:14-18 again on your own. Let's go back to Daniel 11:33. Daniel 11:33. And those are the people who understand will instruct many. Yet for many days they will fall by the sword and flame, by captivity and plundering. Those are people such as myself who understand this are going to be instructing many, it says. And I'm not instructing many with 42 followers, but it's saying here that they're going to instruct many, and then they're going to be, many of us are going to be fallen, persecuted, and die. That's the way it is. But Yahweh is going to send us teachers in these last days to understand the ruach of his love, to teach the spirit of it in spirit and in truth. John 15:9-14. John 15:9-14. John 15. I told you I really do need some help here. I really do. 15:9-14. And this is Yahweh Shua speaking again. And as the Father loved me, I also have loved you. Abide in my love. Live in my love. If you keep my commandments, you abide in my love, my commandments. Just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. And continuing on. And this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. From the mouth of the original source, from the mouth of the one who created your tongue, Yahweh Shua says that his commandment is love. The way his Father loves him, the way he loves you, he wants you to love him. He says to live in his love. He did not commence the giving a list of Moshe commandments. He did not do it. Mark 13:14. Yahweh Shua talks about the abomination of desolation. I'm not going to go there because I'm telling you now, it's the law. Because the mercy seat, which covers the law, is what Yahweh Shua sits on. Let's say right now, will you go towards that mercy seat and receive Yahweh Shua? Or you going to say, no, please, can you just get up and open that lid for me so I can look in there? I want what's in the lid. You going to take Yahweh Shua or you going to take what's in the box? Which one do you want? I suggest you take Yahweh Shua, because you cannot look in the face of Yahweh. Yahweh cannot save you. Yahweh is for judgment. That's why he gave you his son for mercy, for salvation. Yahweh is judgment. His son is mercy. I suggest you take that. Zechariah 14:12 and 13. So it's no outro, it's just one thing. Zechariah 14. Man, this is a wonderful word today. And it reads 14:12 and 13. And this will be the plague which Yahweh will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh will dissolve while they stand on their feet. Their eyes will dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues will dissolve in their mouths. It will come to pass in that day that a great panic from Yahweh will be among them. Everyone will seize the hand of his neighbor and raise his hand against his neighbor's hand. That mercy seat is going to be lifted up by the beast and destroy everybody who has his image on their smartphones. That's probably how it's going to be. How you going to get everybody? Everybody got a smartphone. The man I gave money to today, homeless in the woods, got a smartphone. Everybody's got one. So all you got to do is download the image in the app. And you know the thing about this ark, it is highly energized. It's electric because of it's a conduit for electricity. That's a scientific fact. This is not some kind of spiritual hocus pocus or magic. The Ark of the Covenant literally is shocking physically because of the way it was made, and then with the clothing, the pure linen clothing, and the stones of the priest, and with the acacia wood and the gold and all the way that Yahweh had this made, it has physical power. And when you download that app of the image of the beast on that smartphone, and everybody's going to have a thing, it's going to go ahead and kill everybody and desolate everybody who is set up for deception. It's that simple. You know, I'm not going to have time, of course, to read this, but you go to Zechariah 11, it talks about the prophecy of the shepherds and how Yahweh's going to destroy 3 shepherds in 1 month. I suggest this is the 3 horns, and then it's replaced by the 1 horn. I believe that 1 horn is going to be the false anti-Messiah. So I'm just going to breeze through this, but Zechariah 11, look at this as Zechariah's version of the beast with the horns. Now, Matthew 11:25 through 30. Matthew 11:25 through 30. I could have got more done if I wasn't reading some of the wrong scriptures here. So, Matthew 11:25 through 30. Yahweh Shua talking again. But Yahweh Shua knew their thoughts and said to them, I thank you, Father, Yahweh of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and prudent and have revealed them to babes. I suggest to you today that I am a babe. Yahweh has revealed this to me without all the grand knowledge of those with the doctors of divinity, a babe who just dropped this wisdom on you about the law. Verse 26, Yahushua speaking. Even so, Father, because it is so fitting, seeming good in your sight, all things have been delivered to me by my Father. And no one knows the Son except the Father, nor does anyone know the Father except the Son, and the one to whom the Son wills to reveal him to. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke on you, learn from me, because I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Didn't he say, my law is a law of love? Would you rather, when you was a child, for mommy and daddy to give you 613 chores or 2 chores? Would you want your wife? I got a list to do today when I get off here. I got 3 things to do in that yard. I'd rather have 3 things than 613 things. Yahushua says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I gave you 2 things. Love me and love your fellow man. How can you say you love me who you don't see when you don't even love your fellow man who you do see? It is impossible to love Yahweh who you don't see when you can't even love your fellow man who you do see. It's that simple. Yet we're going to go in and judge Mother Hawa, who failed on one thing. When we here right now today, on July the 10th, 2022, are failing on one thing. I've got about 6 more scriptures I'm not getting to, and I'm going to have to finish that tomorrow. Shalom Aleichem, peace be on you. Your hum with you. Shalom Aleichem.